Hey folks, the Esperia Chicken is an absolutely stunning looking stealth fighter that excels at combat due to its almost unmatched agility. There's also the Shrike variant, which is the same except it trades the size 4 weapon hardpoints for size 2s and a boatload of missiles, but I wouldn't really recommend that one, unless you really like the color purple. The base model Pigeon used to be absolutely dominant in PvP in 3.13, but it was brought more in line with other ships with the broad 3.14 ship balance changes. For 3.15, it actually got another slight nerf due to the changes that made stealth much less effective. That said, the Canadian Goose still embodies the look and feel of a hunter. If you happen to have enough oxygen on you to survive the long time it takes to enter the cockpit, you'll see that it's even red on the inside to remind you that you're out for blood. We don't need any more encouragement than that, so let's get into it. So we're going to take the Peacock through its paces using both laser cannons and laser repeaters. We're starting here with the cannons. I've got light strikes on, but you could use any laser cannon pretty much. There's no big difference for the size 4 cannons. They're pretty much all exactly the same. You can get Omni Skies, they're basically the cheapest, so that's what I'd recommend actually, but these are just what I happen to have around. We're against a Hurricane, and normally I don't really love using laser cannons against a Hurricane, but because the Kestrel is so freaking agile, I can just stay on top of this Hurricane and I can keep hitting my shots. So it's actually kind of okay in this case, and so you'll actually get more total DPS as long as you're actually able to land your shots. So this is kind of like a high skill ceiling type ship to fly then, because if you're able to take advantage of its incredible agility, you can end up using weapons that become more capacitor efficient and therefore let you do more damage. And you need to actually land your damage because you're not super durable. You can try your best using your agility to evade as much fire as possible. You do have 2 size 1 shields to help you in your endeavors, but once those shields go down, you start taking damage and you start losing components and capabilities real fast. So here you can see I'm at 14% and I decide to end up putting my power to shields because I found a gap where I hadn't taken damage in 5 seconds. After you've not taken damage for 5 seconds, your shields will be able to recharge, so you're looking for those types of windows if you're going to do a little bit of power redirection left and right. With other ships, I might let my shield go down to 0 and take a couple of shots to my hull because I know I can take it, but in this ship I want to try and protect that if I'm paying it close enough attention and if I have the opportunity. In that situation we had a good position, so we did it. We were able to take out that Hurricane no problem, so then we're going to take out this other Hurricane here that was flying with it the whole time. We were agile enough to shake off enough of that damage even though we were against 2 Hurricanes simultaneously, so that kind of shows off some of the Rooster's capabilities. Now, as we're a little bit head-to-head with this Hurricane, we're also going to show off some of our weakness. Our shields go down so fast because we've got a pretty big target with our wide wings. And there, we killed them, but their explosion also did critical damage to us, and look at that. We came out ahead, we didn't even take any serious damage during the fight itself, but we're kind of flimsy, so we lose a wing and now we've lost control of our ship, so we're going to have to eject and get out of here. Because even though we kept both of our guns, our ship has actually entered an uncontrolled spin. Next, let's see how the Crow does with laser repeaters. So I'm going to start the repeater combat against a Warden, not because it poses any real threat to the Woodpecker at all, but because I want to essentially show off just how sharply you can enter this engage. So we open up with our repeaters as soon as we get in range, and then instead of flying past him, we just angle ourselves such that the bottom of our ship is facing the direction we're going. We use our incredible boost and thrusters to stop on the dime and keep them in our sights and just pop him. That was like 15-20 seconds. I'm going to show one more bit of easier combat here against a Valkyrie here, just to show off how we can fight and pitch. We're actually beating this Valkyrie by flying down. We're essentially strafing downwards, and that's using our top thrusters, which are our weaker thrusters. Remember, your strongest thrusters are always the ones on the bottom of your ship and the ones in back of you, the ones that push you forward. So we're actually fighting using our weaker thrusters, and we're still able to beat him in that angle for a long time before he finally catches us. And then we rotate backwards to be strafing upwards. and now he's not going to be able to track us again as much. We do a little bit of poor piloting there. I stopped pitching there, but that's okay. We're about to finish him anyways. That's not a big deal. We got to 87% shields. He took off 13% of our shields. That's it. So for this last bit here, we're going to show off the challenging combat again. We're actually against 2 Hurricanes and a Valkyrie in this fight, so it's going to be a lot of incoming damage. There you see the other 2 allies have just spawned in, so you see 3 people on the radar. The bounty target is a Hurricane in itself, so that's what we're going to go for first. I always go for the bounty target first, even if one happens to be a Hurricane, because just in case something happens, like I don't know, something rare like running into an asteroid, I want to be able to make sure I get paid first and I don't accidentally fail the bounty. So here I'm going to try and keep an eye on my shields as much as I can, because like I mentioned earlier, I don't want to get to hull if I can really help it, just because that's when I'll start taking some pretty bad permanent damage. So I'm trying to corkscrew as much as I can to avoid fire, trying to pay attention to the angle that he's pointed at to keep myself away from being directly in front of him, and I suck. If you were paying close attention, I actually did get a collision alert, but during combat I didn't notice it. That's, I guess, one of the risks of having a fully red UI, is that the red warning kind of blends in a little bit. Here we're picking up that battle where we left off. I respawned, I grabbed my ship again, and I came right back to the same fight. So this is that same Hurricane that we were fighting before, so it's going to pop really fast because we had already done a good deal of damage to it on that first time. We were so close to having just completed it. But now we'll fight this second Hurricane from full health all the way down. We're starting pretty low on shield, so I should try and engage in a way such that I can get away from some damage for a little bit to recharge my shield. So I'm going to do some corkscrews, and then I'm going to intentionally kind of fly underneath it and give myself those 5 seconds to not take damage and recharge my shield, and then get back into the fray with my capacitor back to weapons. And so there's still 2 pretty high DPS targets on the field here, but as long as I'm paying attention to my shield and to asteroids, I should be fine. So, same thing as before, corkscrew to shake off damage. You do that by strafing upwards and rolling, or strafing downwards and rolling, but you want to use the up direction when possible because your bottom thrusters are stronger. And then just use the opportunities when you have clean shots to just unload your capacitor pool, and then shake off some damage while you're recharging your ammo again, and rinse and repeat over and over. And then keeping in mind that you're trying to get center body shots. We're using our lag pip here, so we can see exactly where our shots are going to land on the ship, which is nice and convenient when you have a really agile ship like this. We get our shields down again, so I once again fly straight past him to give myself some time to recharge, and then pull right back around and re-engage. The ship is so agile that you can always pull off maneuvers like that as long as you're paying enough attention. And so here I've got a nice little angle where I'm trying to get around him, around the back of him. He's rotating to try and find me, but I end up just taking what I can get because I don't want to give him time to recharge too much shield. And then I'm going to commit right here now because I'm behind him and I'm above him, and this is a nice, great shot. This is where I want to be. And we get him. So the fit that we use for the Cockatoo is in line with what we use for pretty much all other light fighters. For the weapons, you can use either the Rhinos or the Omni Skies, whichever kind of suits you better. These are the ones I recommend because they're the same as all other laser repeaters and cannons are the same size in 315, and these are the cheapest. For missiles, just go with EM missiles. You can use whatever size you like. I like to have more missiles, so I use size 1s. For the shields, you actually want grade A civilian shields if you can get them. Grade A shields will give you more HP and better recharge rate, and the civilian ones happen to be the cheapest. Power plants and coolers we don't need to touch because coolers don't do anything, and power plants, as long as you've got enough power, you're good. And then for the quantum drive, I just recommend the Atlas so you can get around the verse on 1 tank. So yeah, the Duck is a pretty decent ship. It's ultra agile with crazy high pitch roll yaw rates, and it's really only matched by the Car-to-All and Snub fighters in that category. But then the power to weight ratio of the Merlin's thrusters blow those other ships out of the water. It's also got really decent top speed and SCM speed. They both happen to just be the same as the Gladius, in fact. It's balanced by the fact that it's pretty flimsy. The stats say it has 18,000 hull HP, but you really can't take that much damage after your shields go down before you start losing some pretty critical functionality, and you'll start losing tremendous amounts of agility and control. You'll have to just abort combat. You've got reasonable firepower, but you're still like 30% less than an arrow. And for 315, something that actually matters is there's no ship interior, so that means you're not going to get any interior storage for personal cargo. That's going to become important with the cargo refactor and looting. So, would I buy a Penguin for VHRTs? Maybe, but probably not until after getting some of the other fighters first. It's still an absolutely gorgeous bird to fly. Thanks for watching, folks. I hope you've liked it. Cheers.